Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss any video lesson from Rouse IAS Study Circle. Now we are also available on Telegram, so join our Telegram channel by clicking on the link that is available in the description below to get the latest updates from Rouse IAS Study Circle. Hello and welcome to the weekly explained section from the Indian Express. And in this discussion, we'll be taking up the articles that have not been covered in the DNS and have come up in the Indian Express explained section. So the articles that we will discuss today are displayed on your screen. So let us start the discussion now. Now this article that was published in Indian Express Explained talks about the correlation between inflation, GDP growth rate and unemployment scenario. And we note that the inflation, GDP and unemployment all are in a difficult territory as far as India's economy is concerned. In this regard, this article compares India with other countries of Asia and how these countries have performed on the parameters of inflation, GDP growth rate and unemployment. In this regard, let us try and look at some key aspects of high rates of inflation that are prevailing in India. Secondly, why is India witnessing contraction of GDP and the employment scenario in India. After that, we will learn about two important concepts, that is stagflation and also the Phillips curve, and why the Phillips curve is not standing true in case of India, or what are the deviations from the Phillips curves that are being witnessed in India. Let us look at all these aspects one by one. Now, as far as inflation is concerned, we all know that the Monetary Policy Committee has mandated an inflation range of 4% plus minus 2%. However, the current retail inflation in India has overshot this mandated inflation rate of 6%. And this inflation rate of India, which is higher than 6%, is higher as compared to other Asian economies. Now, what are the reasons behind prevailing high inflation in India? One of the biggest reasons is the high fuel and food inflation, which together accounts for more than 50% in the consumer price index, which is taken as a parameter for measuring index in India by the Reserve Bank of India. Second issue is that there is increased prices of commodities such as metals, etc. And also there has been a disruption in the supply chain in India because of the various issues that we are facing. The supply chain disruption has been caused because of global ship shortage, increase in global freight rates, etc. Now, besides these reasons, there is high level of taxation on retail fuel by the government to keep welfare measures going in the face of pandemic. And because of this high taxation on the retail fuel, the fuel, which is one of the important ingredients in the production in India, is leading to high inflation of commodities in India. Also, there is high base effect. This is because last year during this time the crude prices went very low. However, today the international crude prices are close to $70 per barrel, and this has led to a base effect in inflation because the prices of crude oil have shot up sharply. So all these reasons combined together have led to a higher inflation in the Indian economy. Further, the Indian economy has contracted by around 7.6% last year due to the pandemic. However, this contraction was much larger in Indian economy as compared to other Asian economies. And we note that the India's GDP growth rate has now gone into a negative territory. As far as the employment scenario is concerned, India's labor force participation rate contracted from 42% to 39% during the pandemic. Now, labor force participation rate simply captures the percentage of people who are in the working age group who want to participate in the workforce. And in this regard, India's labor force participation rate is already low as compared to other Asian economies. And as this labor force participation rate is witnessing contraction, this is a sign for worry for Indian economy and especially the employment scenario in India. Now, when the labor force participation rate is low, it means overall lower productivity and well-being because fewer people are now making themselves available for economic activity. Then there is high dependency ratio and there is more burden on the persons who are working. Also, the Indian economy is witnessing low level of skill development and there is low female participation rate in workforce. And all these indicate that this is not a good sign because we want to harness the demographic dividend because of the huge young population that India has right now. Further, India's unemployment rate is very high despite India having a low labor force participation rate. Now, as we have already learned that labor force participation rate captures the percentage of people who are in the working age group who want to participate in the workforce. And we note that this labor force participation rate in India is approximately around 40%. Now, this means that even when only 40 out of 100 people in the working age group are looking to work in the economy, our economy is still not able to generate enough jobs to employ these 40% out of the 100 who are seeking to get jobs. So, this shows the poor scenario of unemployment rate that Indian economy is witnessing. Then there is also concern about absolute employment level in Indian economy, and the absolute number of people employed in the economy has reduced by about 5% as compared to the period before the pandemic. And the number of jobs in the economy has reduced by about 22 million. So, all these facts highlight that the Indian economy is witnessing issues on all the three fronts, that is, inflation is out of control, the GDP growth rate is contracting, as well as the unemployment scenario is a really grave one. In this background, let us look at some core concepts which can be asked in the preliminary examination, like the concept of stagflation, the Phillips curve, etc. Now, as Indian economy is facing both inflation as well as stagnation in the GDP growth rate, the Indian economic scenario is sometimes termed as stagflation. Now, stagflation is simply a combination of two economic terms, stagnation and inflation. And it implies an economic scenario which denotes simultaneous existence of low GDP growth rates and high rate of inflation accompanied with high rate of unemployment within an economy. And the Indian economy is witnessing all these three problems, that is, we are witnessing low GDP growth rates, high rate of inflation, and high rate of unemployment within our economy. Now, traditionally, the nature of relation between inflation and unemployment was explained by a curve that is known as Phillips curve. And according to this Phillips curve, there is an inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. That is, as the rate of inflation increases, the unemployment scenario decreases. And when the rate of inflation decreases, the unemployment in an economy increases. And that is why there is an inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. Now, the issue with the Phillips curve was that this was based on one assumption, and this assumption was that higher economic growth rate would be accompanied with increase in the prices of goods and services. And due to the increase in prices of goods and services as a result of higher growth rate, it would lead to increase in the inflation in the overall economy. Now, as the increase in inflation is a result of increase in growth rate, it will also generate employment in the economy and will lead to reduction in the unemployment scenario. And because of this assumption, the Phillips curve postulates that increase in the inflation will translate into lower level of unemployment. However, the Phillips curve is not true in all the situations and the current scenario that the Indian economy is witnessing, because we are also witnessing high inflation rate, but that is not accompanied with decrease in the unemployment, because unemployment is already increasing in India as well as inflation is also increasing in India. Now, what are the reasons as to why this Phillips curve correlation becomes wrong at times in the real economic scenario? Let us look at these reasons one by one. Now, as the rate of inflation increases in an economy, the unemployment within an economy may reduce only to a certain level as prescribed by the Phillips curve. However, beyond a certain level, the inflation might increase, but it might not lead to change in the unemployment, and the unemployment level might remain constant in such a scenario. And this rate of employment is termed as natural rate of unemployment. Now, this natural rate of unemployment is a combination of structural and frictional unemployment in an economy, because the change in unemployment will not depend upon the increasing growth rate or increase in inflation, which is because of the increasing growth rate of the economy. Now, structural unemployment simply refers to the unemployment which is caused due to mismatch between the skill set of the workers and demand of the job. This is because the skill set of the workers may not be sufficient enough to fulfill their job requirements. So, even when there are jobs in the economy, the skill set of the population is not matching with the requirement of those jobs. And this is termed sometimes as structural unemployment. Now, such kind of structural employment is caused because of rapid technological advances. The second type of inflation that might exist in an economy is frictional unemployment, and it refers to temporary unemployment which is caused when people switch from one job to another. And accordingly, the increase in rate of inflation would not have any impact on reducing the natural rate of unemployment within an economy, which is a result of structural unemployment as well as frictional unemployment at times. Secondly, a very high rate of inflation would lead to decrease in the GDP growth rate. And as there will be decrease in the GDP growth rates, it would lead to increase in the unemployment in the economy. And again, the correlation that is provided by the Phillips curve might not stand true. Now, such a scenario was witnessed in the US economy during 1970s when there was high rate of inflation which resulted in economic stagnation in the long run. And as such, there was higher unemployment rate in the United States of America that was witnessed during the 1970s. And accordingly, in order to promote economic growth and employment within an economy, the rate of inflation has to be at moderate levels. And as such, it has been said that both the zero rate of inflation as well as the higher rates of inflation are both considered to be equally bad for an economy. And that is why the central banks across the world target to maintain a moderate rate of inflation in order to promote economic growth and employment opportunities. In case of India, we note that the RBI has been mandated to maintain rate of inflation at about 4%, which could either increase or decrease by 2%. And we note that this is the target of inflation that has been decided by the Monetary Policy Committee. So even in case of India, the Reserve Bank of India has decided that there should be moderate rate of inflation. And accordingly, the Monetary Policy Committee has decided the inflation target to be 4% plus minus 2%. So clearly we have seen that the Indian economy is witnessing a kind of stagflation. This is because the inflation is increasing, the GDP growth rate is decreasing, and at the same time, unemployment rate is also increasing. And this economic scenario in India could not be explained by the help of Phillips curve because there are many variations from the Phillips curve in the real economy. And we have already seen the reasons as to why the situation varies from the Phillips curve in the real economy. With this, let's take up the next news article now. Now, with the onset of monsoon in India, we are witnessing a disaster that is known as deaths that are caused by lightning. And these lightnings have been in news recently because of the number of deaths that have been witnessed because of this disaster. Now, in India, every year around 2000 to 2500 people die because of lightning. And lightning is the biggest contributor to accidental deaths due to natural causes. Now, a few years ago, over 300 people were reportedly killed by lightning in just 3 days. So you can see the gravity of this disaster, which is usually ignored by authorities as well as people. In this background, it becomes important for us to understand what is the mechanism of lightning and also why lightning becomes dangerous and when it becomes dangerous, or what are the situations in which the lightning becomes dangerous. So let us understand these key details for us from the preliminary examination perspective, and also why lightning becomes dangerous can also be important for us from the mains examination in the General Studies paper 3 in the section disaster management. Now, lightning is normally witnessed during hot and humid days. And during these hot and humid days, due to high temperature of sunlight, the water on the surface of the earth gets vaporized. And when this water vapor reaches at the height of around 2 to 7 kilometers in the atmosphere, it starts cooling. And because of cooling, condensation takes place and clouds are formed. Now, as the temperature starts decreasing with the increasing height from the Earth's surface, the rising air then reaches its dew point temperature. And as such, at dew temperature or the dew point temperature, the water vapor starts condensing into water droplets or ice because of low temperature. Now, during the process of condensation, what happens is that the upper part of the cloud becomes more condensed because of low temperature. And as such, ice pellets are formed which are called as graupels. Now, these graupels are heavy and have considerable weight, and as such, under the influence of gravity, these start moving downwards. However, there are small ice crystals that are formed at the base of the cloud, and these small ice crystals then start rising upwards. Now, during this downward movement of graupels or the soft hail and the upward movement of small ice crystals, there is a lot of friction that takes place inside the cloud, and because of which charges develop within the cloud. Now, due to this movement of graupels and small ice crystals, the positively charged crystals get stored at the upper end of the cloud, while the negatively charged graupels come to the lower part of the cloud. and as such the cloud is now bipolar in nature. This is because one part of the cloud has become positively charged while another part of the cloud has become negatively charged. So, this is the situation that is taking place within the cloud or within the process of cloud formation in the upper atmosphere. Now, as the lower part of the cloud is negatively charged and the Earth's surface, which is generally positively charged, a huge amount of potential difference is created between the surface of the Earth and the lower part of the cloud. So, a very high potential difference gets created between the Earth's surface and the lower part of the cloud, which is highly charged or negatively charged. And due to extremely high electric potential difference, the air between the lower part of the cloud and the Earth gets ionized, and this starts conducting the charges. And as such, heavy amount of charge starts flowing from the cloud to the ground through the narrow channel, which is known as the lightning bolt that we see during the lightning process. So as you can see in this diagram, the lower surface of the cloud is negatively charged. However, Earth's surface is positively charged. And due to this potential difference between the lower surface of the cloud and the Earth's surface, the electrons start flowing from the lower surface of the cloud towards Earth. And this is witnessed in the form of a lightning bolt. So this is the process of formation of large clouds during hot and humid days, which result in the formation of positive and negative charges on the upper and the lower surface of the same cloud, and this results in the process of lightning. Now, lightning is normally associated with thunder, as we all know, and the thunder is basically the sound that is created by the light bolt when it propagates through the air of the atmosphere. Now, normally the flash of the light is seen first, which is followed by thunder. This is simply because the speed of the light is higher as compared to speed of the sound. Now, during this process of lightning, what happens is that the temperature which is generated by this lightning bolt is so high that the pressure in the air around the hot lightning channel suddenly increases, and it causes expansion and vibration in the air around the channel. And this expansion in the air then creates sonic shock waves, which are similar to sonic bomb that produces loud pealing thunder sound. And that is why the lightning process is accompanied with the sound of thunder, which is very high. Now, why does lightning become dangerous? So when the lightning strikes the ground, it then distributes in the form of ground currents. And the people on the surface of the earth are commonly struck by these ground currents. What happens is that the electrical energy after hitting a large object, for example, tree on the earth, spreads laterally on the ground for some distance, and people in this area then receive electrical shocks. So it becomes more dangerous if the ground is wet, which is frequently because it is accompanied by rain. And if there is metal or other conducting material on it, the lateral movement of the electric current will be huge, and as such, people will be affected more when the lightning hits the conducting material. So because water is a conductor, many people are struck by lightning while standing in flooded paddy fields. And that is why it is recommended that you should not take shelter below the trees during the times of rain or thunderstorms, because there is high probability of being hit by a thunderstorm lightning. So these are some basic facts related to the mechanism of lightning and why it becomes dangerous during the rains. With this, let's take up the next news article now. Again, this article that was published in the Indian Express Explained section talks about the European Union's new Green Deal. And in this line, this article basically explained how the Europe's new ambitious climate agenda will affect the businesses that exist in the European Union. However, that is not a cause of concern for us who are preparing for UPSC. The only thing that is important for us here is to know what is the name of the plan. So here the name of the plan is Fit for 55. So this is what the plan that has been unveiled by the European Union is known as. And in the preliminary examination, you can be asked a very simple question as to the term Fit for 55, sometimes seen in the news, is related to which of the following. And the correct answer in that case would be European Union. So in this regard, let us look at some of the key aspects of this Fit for 55 plan and how it compares to the plans that have been unveiled by other countries for meeting the climate agenda. So again, I would like to reiterate that the name of the plan and the association of this plan with the European Union becomes an important aspect for us from the preliminary examination perspective. So as you can see here, the name of the plan is Fit for 55 plan, and it has been unveiled by the European Union. Now what this Fit for 55 plan calls for? So it calls all its 27 member states to cut their output of greenhouse gases by 55% by 2030 compared to the 1990 levels. Now, as compared to European Union, recently the United States of America had also committed itself to reduce the emissions. However, the target that was set up by the United States of America were lower as compared to the ambitious targets that have been set by the European Union. In this regard, the US had committed to reduce the emissions by 40% to 43% over the same period, that is from 1990 by 2030. Now, during the same period, Britain has the most ambitious plan, and it has pledged a 68% reduction in the greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. However, China, which is the world's largest emitter, has said that it aims for emissions to peak by 2030. So these are few aspects of the Fit for 55 plan, which has been unveiled by the European Union and which has been in news and can be an important aspect for us from the preliminary examination perspective. With this, let's take up the next news article now. Now, Cuba, which is a small island near the United States of America, has been witnessing a lot of protests against the establishment or the government. In this regard, the government of Cuba is censoring the internet in Cuba. And by doing so, it is trying to cover up any dissent against the existing government. In this regard, in order to provide the Cuban citizens with uncensored internet, the United States of America is considering or pondering over providing internet to the Cuban citizens by the way of balloons. And as such, this article that was published in the Indian Express Explained says that can the United States of America deliver internet to Cuba via high altitude balloons? In this regard, it has been said that while the technology exists, experts aren't sure it would be easy to set up guerrilla internet service this way. Now, one of the important projects that was initiated in the past with an aim of providing the internet by the way of balloons was initiated by Google. So let us look at what was the name of this project and also how it aimed at providing internet. However, the bad news is that Google has now shut down this project of providing internet by the use of balloons, saying that it is unviable and also technologically difficult. So this Project Loon was started by Google with an aim of providing internet by the way of balloons in the stratosphere. So instead of trying to extend the internet from ground, which is usually done, the Project Loon takes to sky via a network of balloons traveling along the edge of the space into the stratosphere. And by doing so, they aim at expanding internet connectivity in rural areas, fill coverage gaps, and improve network resilience in the event of disasters. So basically, they wanted to cover or bridge the digital divide that existed in the world. And as such, they wanted to expand the internet connectivity into rural areas, they wanted to fill coverage gaps, and also improve the network resilience in the event of a disaster. So for example, in warlike situations or in countries which are witnessing civil wars, the internet that is provided by the way of balloons could have played a key role. Now Google started implementing this project in Kenya, Puerto Rico, etc. However, of late, it has now announced that it will shut down the Project Loon because of the unviability and also the technological challenges that this project is facing. So in case of the Project Loon that was started by Google, the balloons were sent up to 20 kilometers into the stratosphere. And then a software was designed which moved them up or down to find the right winds to direct them into a position. And each balloon beams an internet connection down to antennas on the ground, from where on it would be distributed to the end consumers. So the only thing that is important for us is that Project Loon tried to provide internet by the way of balloons in the stratosphere, and this was a brainchild of Google. So this is the only fact that is important for us from the prelims examination perspective.